Hello students, welcome to Shri Jain's Rank Zone classes. In today's video, we will discuss the importance of English vocabulary in competitive examinations. I will go through a few tips that we can follow to improve our vocabulary, and then we will discuss a few difficult and rarely used English words along with their use and sentences. We will also go through a few practice questions on what kind of questions we might face in examination. Okay, then let's begin today's lecture. Vocabulary. Success in verbal section of the examination depends on your familiarity with as many words as possible and your ability to put this knowledge to a practical use. So, 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 so in exam, 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 so in examinations, you will find a word. There would be a which is, 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 which is similar in meaning to the given word. Be critical for various comprehension passages, where a few words may defining the meaning of finding 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 the meaning of the whole paragraph. So if we do answering those questions, then there are also direct questions related to the meaning or meaning of words or their antonyms from the paragraph. So your vocabulary plays an important role in successfully solving reading comprehension as well. There are some everlasting benefits in possessing a large which will benefit the students throughout their career, and also their thinking apparatus becomes more versatile and the vocabulary building exercise equips you to handle questions related to the following segments in a better way: synonyms, antonyms, spelling check, idioms and phrases. All these sections uh, uh, are also easier to face when we have very good vocabulary. Okay, now let us discuss a few tips on how we can improve our vocabulary. First, be sure of the meanings of words which you are familiar with. There are many words whose usage you may be familiar with. However, when asked about their meaning, you are unable to provide a proper answer. It is best to brush up on these familiar words so that you can determine the correct answer among options which are very close in their meanings. So there are a lot of words that we are familiar with but and use in our daily language. But when someone asks about their exact meaning, we are always confused. And in examination, the options provided for such kind of words are very close in their meaning. Therefore, we must know the exact meaning of that familiar word in order to mark the correct option. So, it is important to be sure of the meanings of words which we are already familiar with. Okay, so uh, brush up on these familiar words so that you can determine the correct answer among options which are very close in their meanings. Second tip is keep learning new words. If you come across any new words while reading any piece of text, take a note of it. Find out its meaning before moving further with your reading. In case you aren't fond of reading, search online for word lists. Many websites compile lists of important words for exams like Clat, CA, SAT, TOEFL, and JRA. These lists can be tremendous help in your preparations for tackling vocabulary questions. You can subscribe to blogs with a word of the day segment. So, it is very important to keep learning new words in order to improve our vocabulary. If you come across any new word while reading anything, maybe you are reading a novel, you are reading a newspaper, or just an article, there you might find a word which you are not familiar with. So, you should look for the meaning of and try to understand their usage as well. For any exam 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 for any examination that we want. Then there are a few websites that have a section called Word of the Day without waste 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 without wasting much effort on it. So words that we are familiar with. And the second tip is to keep learning new words. That is the meanings of new words. Pay some attention to the alterations in terms of spelling. Only a cursory idea of the spelling of such questions. So pay attention to the spellings of these new words as well, because there are a few words which are spelled in a similar way, but they have different meanings altogether, like uh, affect, effect, and then advice is spelled with an S or with an E, with an C. So they both have different meaning and their usage is also different. Therefore, it is important to pay attention to the spelling of these words as well while looking at the meaning of these new words. Okay, so pay attention to the spelling of each word. Sometimes we might think that we have an overall idea about the spelling of these words, but in examinations, the questions which are related to spell check have very similar alterations in their spelling. So you might end up marking a wrong answer because you just think that you have an overall idea of the spelling. Therefore, it is very important to learn the exact spelling of these words. So pay attention to the spellings. The next step is revisit old words. You may believe that repeating the meaning of a word twice in your mind is enough to add it to your memory. That is sadly very far from the truth. Your brain responds better to repeated reviewing over a prolonged period in comparison to cramming within a short span of time. So, make it a point to write down the new words that you learn over the week. Review them regularly. A good practice would be to designate a day in each week for you to review old words from previous weeks. So, it is very important to revisit old words because We think that repeating a word in our mind once or twice will help us remember the meaning of those words, but it is very far from truth. We end up making a mess in such situations, and we try to cram up a lot of words all together just before the examination. What this causes is we get confused between different words. So it is very important to review the words that we have learned after some time. So if we write down the new words that we have come across in in the week and then review them a few days later, it will help us to remember these words for a longer duration and also make use of them in our day-to-day language. Okay, so revisiting old words is very important to improve our vocabulary you have learned. Fifth, what 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 this means is many of us have the habit of looking very often the first meaning provides an incomplete picture. Words can 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 words carry varying connotations based on the context. Those acquainted with only the first specified usage of a word. It is a good practice to go through all the provided meanings of a word. Another good practice is to look for sample sentences which are used which use a particular word. This will help you understand its meaning and intended usage better. It will also serve as a welcome break from the monotony of memorizing words from the lists. Okay, so you need to look up all the usages of a word in a dictionary and not just the first usage. You might already know that a single word might carry multiple meanings, and it will their meaning will vary with the change in their usage. Therefore, it is important to learn about the different meanings of same word. In exams tend to seek meanings to highlighted words. In examinations, we get a question in which the a word from the whole sentence is highlighted, and then we have to choose a different word which is similar in its meaning, or we have to choose an antonium to that word. In such cases, we must know the exact usage and meaning of that word in that particular sentence to guess the correct answer. So it is important to know all the meaning and different usages of the new we learn. How we can do this? We can do this with a good practice about learning sample sentences which use a particular word. Okay, we will uh, we will look at different kind of usages through with the help of sentences. We will see and how a particular word is used in a particular sentence when it is used in one sense and when it is used in the second sense. So this will help us in memorizing the words, and it won't make the work monotonous. Sixth tip is Sixth trick is to check for synonyms and antonyms. The law entrance exams love to pose questions about synonyms and antonyms. Students have to choose words which are similar or opposite as the case may be in meaning to the word provided in the questions. Furthermore, looking out for synonyms of words can actually help in increasing your vocabulary at a faster pace. When you learn a new word, check for its synonyms. If you find two new words within the synonyms, you will very well have learned three words at the time you spent on one. Your vocabulary is to check for synonyms and antonyms. Especially in law entrance examinations, we face a lot of questions related to these synonyms and antonyms. The students have to choose a word which is similar to or opposite in meaning to a given provided word. Also, uh, it is a good practice to look at the antonyms and synonyms of a particular new word after that particular time, because all the three words have similar meaning. So this helps a lot in increasing our. Seventh trick to improve our vocabulary through games and fun quizzes 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 and fun quizzes. You can find interactive vocabulary quizzes of various small prize, small prize, like a tis, 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 like a chocolate, to incentivize everyone to prepare better for the upcoming weeks. So, if we play a few vocabulary quizzes and games related to it, it will make our word learning experience more fun and also more memorable. We will remember the meaning of different new words in a much better way. So, try to form a group of few friends, and you can play these kind of quizzes among yourself. You can discuss different words, their meanings, their antonyms, etc. And the one who scores the maximum points will get some incentive. Okay. So these are few fun ways in which you can improve your vocabulary. So the tips to improve vocabulary are: be sure of the meaning of words that you are familiar with. Keep learning new words. Pay attention to the spelling of new words. Revisit old words as well. Some the words that you have already learned, revisit them in some time so that you do not forget their meaning. Look up all the usages. A particular word might have multiple meanings and can might be able to use in different ways. Therefore, you need to look up all the usages of that particular word. Check for synonyms and antonyms. You need to know the synonyms and antonyms of the new word as well, because it will help us to rapidly expand our vocabulary. Play vocabulary quizzes. This is a fun way to improve our vocabulary and can be easily inculcated into our daily schedule. Okay, so these are the tips to improve our vocabulary. Now let us discuss a few important words and their meanings. Abate. Abate means to lessen. First, we have mentioned the word, then their meaning, and then how we can use them in a sentence. So, our first word is abate. Abate means to lessen, means to reduce. So, the storm showed no signs of abating. What does this sentence mean? The storm did not show any sign of reduction. Okay, the storm was continuing in its momentum as well as magnitude. So it did not show any signs of abating. Abate means to lessen. Example, the storm showed no signs of abating. Second word is abominate. Abominate means to dislike. Okay, abominate means to dislike. How can we use it in a sentence? My dogs abominate cold weather, so I have to force them outside. My dogs abominate cold weather, so I have to force them outside. This means that the dog does not dislikes cold weather, therefore the owner has to push them out forcefully. So abominate means to erode or erode or erode or erode or erode or erode or erode. It was a landscape slope. It was a landscape slowly abraded by a fine stinging dust. Sol, 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 sol. Absolve means to pronounce free of guilt. Example, the pardon absolved them or the authorities 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 pronounce the person free of free of free of free of uh, guilt. Okay, okay. Absolve means to pronounce free of guilt. The pardon absolved them of any crimes. Next word, acclimatize. Acclimatize. Acclimatize adjust, adjust, adjust. Its usage in a sentence is, it's unknown whether people will acclimatize to increasingly warm weather. It's unknown whether people will acclimatize to increasing warm weather. Acclimatize means to adjust. Mainly, it can be adjustment to temperature or altitude or anything else as well. Okay, so acclimatize means to adjust. Next word is acclivity. Acclivity means upward slope. An example is the traveler then threads his way up the acclivity. So the traveler moves towards the upward towards the slope. So acclivity means upward slope. Acrimonious. Acrimonious means bitter in nature. Okay, bitter in nature. For example, they had an acrimonious divorce. They had an acrimonious divorce. So their divorce was very bitter in nature. Okay, they had an acrimonious divorce. Acrimonious means bitter in nature. The next word is adduce. Adduce means to give as proof. Adduce means to give as proof. Example, a number of factors are uh, adduced to explain the situation. A number of factors are adduced to give as for proof. Okay, adduce means to give as proof. A number of factors are adduced to explain the situation. Then the next word is adjournment. Adjournment. It means to defer the proceedings to another day. To defer the proceedings to another day. The tribunal were not prepared to grant any further adjournment of the hearing. So this is how the word is used, and its meaning is to postpone the proceedings to another day. Okay. So adjournment means to defer the proceedings to another day. Next word is adjudicate. Okay. It means to act as a judge and give decision. To act as a judge and give decision. On oath. On oath. On oath. On oath. On oath. Adjure means to state on he adjured his followers to remain faithful to the cause. Aggrandize, 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 aggrandize. Okay. Aggrandize means movie that 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 aggrandizes the bad guys and makes the cops look bad. So according to the usage of this word, this movie makes the bad guys seem far greater than the good cops. Okay. A movie that aggrandizes the bad guys. Aggrandize means to seem or to make or seem to work greater. To make or seem to make greater. Agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is an extreme or irrational fear of open or public places. Okay. Agoraphobia is fear of public places and open places. How is it used in a sentence? The patient is suffering from agoraphobia. Next word is allay. Allay means to subdue or reduce in intensity. Allay means to subdue or reduce in intensity. Gentle breeze would allay the heat. A gentle breeze would allay the heat. So allay means to subdue or reduce in intensity. Altruist. Altruist is a one who dedicates his life to helping others. Okay, one who decides his life to helping others. Everyone praised the Russian doctor as a humanist, an altruist, and an enlightener. This is how the word altruist is used in a sentence. Everyone praised the Russian doctor as a humanist, an altruist, and an enlightener. Ameliorate. Ameliorate means to improvise. Ameliorate means to improve. To improve. Doctor gave him medicine to ameliorate their pain. Doctor gave him medicine to ameliorate their pain. Amiable, inspiring friendliness. Amiable means inspiring friendliness. How is it used in a sentence? Ramesh is an amiable host. This is enough to say that Ramesh is an inspiringly friendly friend. Annals, historical accounts. Bon Jovi is an unparalleled titan in the annals of rock and roll. Bon Jovi is an unprecedented titan in the annals of rock and roll. Anthropology. For example, professor of anthropology at IIT. Abandoning, 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 abandoning of faith. Okay, apostasy means he faith, he becomes a 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 he becomes an atheist. Then our next word is arson. What does arson means? Arson means crime of setting fires crime of setting powers crime of setting fire to another's property. Okay, so how can it be used in a sentence? Example: arson was determined to be the cause of the fire in godown. Arson was determined to be the cause of the fire in godown. This is the sentence. Our next word is ascetic. It means one who leads a lonely, austere existence. How can it be used in a sentence? The first four gurus led simple ascetic lives. The first four gurus led simple ascetic lives. Axiomatic. Axiomatic. Axiomatic means principle accepted as self-evident. Okay? Axiomatic means principle accepted as self-evident. How can it be used in a sentence? It is axiomatic that good athletes have a strong mental attitude. It is axiomatic that good athletes have a strong mental attitude. Then the next word is I. I is used to express agreement or approval. Okay? It is used to express agreement or approval. Its usage is the senator signaled his I vote by raising his hand. The senator signaled his eye owl by raising his hand. Ezoic. Ezoic means without life. So, example is storm took the ship to an ezoic island. Ezoic means without life. Our next word is affluence. Affluence means inflow and increasing wealth. Inflow and increasing wealth. When the company crashed, many people of the affluence became poor. Affluence means inflow and increasing wealth. For example, when the economy crashed, many people of land, 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 land cultivation. An agrarian college prepares men and women to. You may also go through the meaning of these words. Now let us move on to clear of. I hope the clear of the meaning of all these words is clear to you. Anthropology means study of mankind. Apostasy means abandoning of faith. Arson means crime of setting fire to another's property. Ascetic means one who leads a lonely, austere existence. Axiomatic means principle accepted as self-evident. I means used to express agreement or approval. Azoic means without life. Affluence means inflow and increasing wealth. Agrarian means relating to farming. Now the next word is bane. Bane means cause of ruin or trouble. Okay? Cause of ruin or trouble. How is it used in a sentence? Distraction is the bane of productivity. Okay? Distraction is the bane of productivity. So, distraction can cause trouble to the productivity. Therefore, bane means cause of ruin or trouble. Next word is benevolent. Benevolent means wishing to do good. Benevolent means wishing to do good. How is it used in a sentence? Feeding the homeless is a benevolent deed. So, feeding the homeless is a good deed. Therefore, benevolent has been used over here. Benevolent means wishing to do good. Okay. Next word is bicameral. Bicameral means having two legislative chambers. Bicameral means having two legislative chambers. The bill will require bicameral approval from both houses of Congress. The bill will require bicameral approval for both houses of Congress. So, bicameral means having two legislative chambers. Then the next is biennial. Biennial means every 2 years. Biennial means every 2 years. How is it used in a sentence? In odd numbered years, the biennial film festival showcases local movies. So biennial means every 2 years. Every 2 years. Bigamy. Bigamy means legal crime of having more than one spouse. Legal crime of having more than one spouse. Example: Allen was charged with bigamy after the police discovered he was married to two women. Allen was charged with bigamy after the police discovered he was married to two women. So bigamy means sacred. Impious speech or profane abuse of anything. Blasphemy was evident in his article supporting atheism. Bostal means institution where young offenders are kept. Bostal means institution where young offenders are kept. Next word is broach. Broach means bring up for discussion. Okay? Broach means bring up for discussion. Example: Candace was afraid to broach the subject of divorce to afraid to broach the subject of divorce to her abusive husband. Brisk. Brisk means abrupt in manner or unexpected. Okay? Brisk means abrupt in manner or unexpected. Example: What did I do to make you so brisk with me? What did I do to make you so brisk with me? Therefore, brisk means abrupt in manner or unexpected. Let's move on to the next page. Cabal. Cabal means a group or council united for some secret purpose. Cabal means a group or council united for some secret purpose. The rebels have formed a united cabal in order to displace the dictator. The rebels have formed a united cabal in order to displace the dictator. So a cabal is a group or council united for some secret purpose. So the rebels in this sentence have united to displace the dictator. Therefore, they are defined by cabal. Rebels have formed a united cabal. Next word is calumny. Calumny means making of false and defamatory statements about someone. Making of false and defamatory statements about someone. The editor refused to publish the calumny that could possibly destroy the politician's career. The editor refused to publish the calumny that could possibly destroy the politician's career. So, calumny is false and defamatory statements about someone. So, editor refused to publish these false and defamatory statements about the politician. Okay, this sentence wants to say that the editor refused to publish the calumny that could possibly destroy the politician's career. Next word is canvas. Canvas means to solicit votes, opinions, etc. Okay, together votes, opinions, etc. Canvas. Canvas with double S. With single S, you will get canvas, which is used for drawing and all. Okay, so canvas means spelling as well, 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 spelling as well. With just an addition of s, the meaning of instead of using it for drawings, it younger activist were excited to canvass door for the senator. So canvas means to solicit, surrender, especially on stated terms. To surrender, especially on stated terms. Soldiers had no alternative but to capitulate to their enemies. Capitulate means to surrender. Alternative but to capitulate enemies. So the soldiers had to surrender to their enemies. Okay. Capitulate means to surrender on stated terms. Next word is caprice. Caprice means an impulsive act. Okay. An impulsive act. Example: Margie's angry outburst was a caprice she wished she could take back. Margie's angry outburst was a caprice she wished she could take back. So, caprice means impulsive act. Was an impulsive act. This is the meaning of caprice. Caprice means an impulsive act. The next word is carp. Carp means to complain constantly. Okay? Carp means to complain constantly. Jason's mother doesn't allow him to carp under his breath and grounds him. Jason's mother doesn't allow him to carp under his breath and grounds him. So carp means to complain constantly. Next word is cataclysm. Cataclysm means violent change or upheaval. The terrorist attack on September 11, 2001 was a cataclysm of destruction. The terrorist attack on September 11, 2001 was cataclysm of destruction. Caustic. Caustic means extremely sarcastic or critical. Extremely sarcastic or critical. Caustic means extremely sarcastic or critical. So, how is it used in a sentence? Example is the comic's caustic jokes offended quite a few people. The comic's caustic jokes offended quite a few people. So I hope the meaning of these words is clear to you. Cabal is a group or council united for some secret purpose. Calumny is making a false and defamatory statements about someone. Canvas means to study votes, photos, etc. Canvas means to solicit votes, opinions, etc. Capitulate. Capitulate means to surrender. Extremely sarcastic or critical. Lack of respect. The police officer manner when he searched chaperone means older woman in charge of young older 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 woman in older unmarried woman. Grace's mom volunteered to chaperone their field trip to the zoo. Grace's mom volunteered to chaperone their field trip to the zoo. Next word is charnel. Charnel means place where corpses are deposited. Charnel means place where corpses are deposited. Okay, place where corpses are deposited. Example: I gagged on the charnel stench of the place. I gagged on the charnel space. I gagged on the charnel stench of the place. Next word is cloy. Cloy means to overindulge with an initially pleasing thing. To over-enjoy with an initially pleasing thing. Cloy means to overindulge with an initially pleasing thing. Example: her novels are full of cloying sentimentality. Sentimentality. Her novels are full of cloying sentimentality. Next word is colloquial. It means suitable for everyday conversation. Okay, suitable for everyday conversation. One should not speak to the interviewer in a colloquial tone. Colloquial means suitable for everyday conversation. Tone. Collusion. Collusion means a secret agreement for a different for a dishonest reason. Collusion means a secret agreement for dishonest reason. Example, the collusion between the two oil companies is being investigated by the Justice Department. The collusion between the two oil companies is being investigated by the Justice Department. So, collusion means a secret agreement for a dishonest reason. Next word is compromise. Compromise means agreement reached by mutual consent. Compromise means agreement reached by mutual consent. Example, it will take a last minute compromise between two political parties to avoid a government shutdown. It will take a last minute compromise between two political parties to avoid a government conspire, 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 conspire. Conspire means to act together to one end. To act then you have, 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 have. Example, the government wants to raise taxes to decrease the budget deficit. The government wants to raise taxes to decrease the budget deficit. What is uh, here? So government wants to raise taxes to decrease the budget deficit. So deficit means condition of spending more than you have. Second word is denizen. Denizens mean inhabitant or occupant of a place. Denizen means inhabitant or occupant of a place. Example, the whale shark is a denizen of the ocean. The whale shark is a denizen of the ocean, means inhabitant or occupant of a place. Denizen means the whale shark is a denizen of the ocean. Next word is devitalize. Devitalize means to reprieve of vigor of life. Devitalize means to reprieve of vigor or life. Example, technological progress has given enormous power to humanity, but at the cost of devitalizing the spirit of the individual. But at the cost of devitalizing the spirit of the individual. Dichotomy. Dichotomy means division into two parts. Dichotomy means division into two parts. His dichotomy of heaven and hell became an excellent essay on the contrast between paradise and eternal suffering. Dichotomy means division into two parts. Division into two parts. His dichotomy of heaven and hell became an excellent essay on the contrast between paradise and eternal suffering. The next word is dilapid, uh, dilapidated. Okay, you might have heard this word dilapidated, in a state of despair. The dilapidated shops on the western side of the stadium are going to be demolished. The dilapid, uh, dilapidated shops on the western side of the stadium are going to be demolished. Last word is dipsomania. Dipsomania means morbid compulsion for alcoholic beverages. For for alcoholic beverages. Blair spends much of the book whining about his dipsomania and sexually perverted thoughts. Dipsomania means morbid compulsion for alcoholic beverages. So deficit to reprieve of vigor. Dichotomy means dilapidated means in a state of despair, and dipsomania pertaining to the church. Okay, 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 okay. While preparing for service, the Rev. Ek, 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 Echelon. Echelon means particular level in an. For example, only members of society's highest echelon can afford to own airplanes. Only members of society's highest echelon can afford to own planes. So echelon means particular level in an organization. Eclectic. Eclectic means made up of elements from a variety of source. Eclectic means made up of elements from a variety of source. The restaurant's menu was eclectic and included foods from a number of ethnic groups and cultures. Eclectic means made up of elements from a variety of sources. Example, the restaurant's menu was eclectic and included foods from a number of ethnic groups and cultures. Egomaniac. Egomaniac means person insanely convicted of his self-importance. Person barely, person insanely convicted of his self-importance. Example, the egomaniac could never accept that his coworker had a better idea than his own. The egomaniac could not the egomaniac could never accept that his coworker had no idea better than his own. Egomaniac is person insanely convicted of his self-importance. Next word is emanate. Emanate means to come out from. Emanate means to come out from. Example, happiness seemed to emanate from Frances on her wedding day. Happiness seemed to emanate from Frances on her wedding day. Happiness seemed to emanate from Frances on her wedding day. Happiness seemed to emanate from Frances on her wedding day. So, emanate means to come out from. Next word is enclave. Enclave means distinct unit surrounded by foreign territory. Enclave, distinct unit surrounded by foreign territory. Distinct unit surrounded by foreign territory. Example, the African enclave houses a community of refugees on the outskirts of the city. The African enclave decided a complete restricted to a given area. Restricted to a given area. Endemic means restricted to a many, 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 many of the birds that were once endemic to are now being bred in the given area. So many of the birds that were once endemic to Africa. Let's move on to the next page. Engender. Engender means to bring into being. To bring into being. Example, some people believe violent video games engender feelings of hostility in young people. To some, uh, some people believe violent video games engender feelings of hostility in your young people. Someone Some people believe violent video games engender feelings of hostility in young people. So engender means to bring into being. Epithet. Epithet means word or phrase characterizing a person or thing. Word or phrase characterizing a person or thing. The epithet curly is used to describing the big football player with the curly hair. The epithet curly is used to describe the big football player with the curly hair. Epoch. Epoch means a pt uh, epoch means a period of time in history. Example, the development of nuclear weapon indicates an epoch in warfare. The development of nuclear weapons indicated an epoch in warfare. Okay? Euthanasia. Euthanasia means painless killing from incurable disease. Painless cleaning from incurable disease. Euthanasia will put my elderly dog out of his misery or excoriate. To severely condemn. Excoriate means to severely condemn. In his speech, the president will excoriate the dictator's actions. In his speech, the president will excoriate the director's actions. Exculpate. Exculpate means to free from blame. Exculpate means to free from blame. The photographic evidence revealed by the security camera was essential to exculpate the suspect. So, exculpate means to free from blame. The photographic evidence revealed by the security camera was essential to exculpate the suspect. So, exculpate means to free from blame. Exfessy. It be used in a sentence. 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 The contract was ex facie factually satisfactory, reasonable to the egregious, 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 egregious means outrageous. Example, 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 example. The judge said it was the most egregious he had ever seen, 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 ever seen. So egregious means these words, meaning of 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 these words. Engender means to bring into being. Epithet means word or phrase characterizing a person or thing. Epoch means a period of time in history. Euthanasia means painless killing from incurable disease. Excoriate means to severely condemn. Exculpate means to free from blame. Ex facie means not reasonable to the fact. Egregious means outrageous. So these are the few words. Let's move on to the next page. Fabian. Fabian means seeking victory by delay and harassment rather than by a decisive battle, as in the manner of Fabius Maximus. Fabius Maximus was a ruler of Rome who developed a strategy in which he will just delay the battle, harass the opposition army, and he will win by just waiting. He won't even attack and win the and fight a decisive battle. He will just wait and delay the proceedings, and the rations of the opposition army would end by that time, and therefore they will win. So Fabian means seeking victory by delay and harassment. Example: George Washington adopted a Fabian policy during the War of Independence. George Washington adopted a Fabian policy during the War of Independence. Next word is facade. Facade is face of a building. Face of a building. Facade is also used to describe a untrue or misleading picture. Okay, so here it is used as face of a building. How is it used in a sentence? In the evening, the facade is floodlit. It means the face of the building is floodlit. So facade means face of a building. Fallacious. Fallacious means tending to mislead. Fallacious means tending to mislead. His argument is based on fallacious reasoning. His argument is based on fallacious reasoning. This means misleading reasoning. So fallacious means tending to mislead. Next word is flippant. Flippant means treating serious things lightly. Treating serious things lightly. The student's flippant actions towards the teacher got him suspended from school. The student's flippant actions towards the teacher got him suspended from the school. So flippant means treating serious things lightly. People, people, people find, 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 people find themselves in trouble because they think people find themselves in trouble because they flout means openly disregard. Foster means 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 to help with the growth and development of an idea. To foster hope to foster us 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 to foster a strong work ethic in his son. Strong work ethic in his ethic in his ethic in his ethic in his son. So foster is to help with growth and development of an idea. Fallible. Fallible means likely to make an error. Fallible means likely to make an error. The crime-solving techniques of a couple of decades ago were much more fallible than today's methods. The crime-solving techniques of a couple of decades ago were much more fallible than today's methods. Fallible means likely to make an error. The crime-solving techniques of a couple of decades ago were much more fallible than today's methods. Fallible means likely to make an error. I hope you have understood the meaning of all these words. Fabian means seeking victory by delay and harassment. Facade means face of a building. Fallacious means tending to mislead. Flippant means treating serious things slightly. Flout means openly disregard. Foster means to help with the growth and development of an idea. Fallible means likely to make an error. Next word is gaffe. Gaffe means an obvious error or mistake. Gaffe means an obvious error or mistake. How to use it in a sentence? Because of the captain's gaffe, our team lost the big game. Because of the captain's gaffe, our mistake, 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 the team lost the big game. Gaffe means an obvious error or mistake. Next word is germane. Germane means relevant or pertinent to a subject under consideration. Relevant or pertinent to a subject under consideration. relevant or pertinent to a subject under consideration. Example is the president will only respond to media. The president will only respond to media questions that are germane to the economic crisis, means that are relevant to the economic crisis. Therefore, germane means relevant or pertinent to a subject under consideration. Relevant or pertinent to a subject under consideration. Gregarious. Gregarious means liking to be with other people. Liking to be with other people. Gregarious means liking to be with other people. Joe being gregarious, 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 gregarious means liking to be with other people. Guild. Guild is a type of 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 guild that protects the interest of educators. The teacher specified or emphasized 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 or implied offense. Having committed a specified or implied offense. Example, uh, the little girl was guilty of breaking the vase but wouldn't admit it. The little girl was guilty of breaking the vase but wouldn't admit it. Therefore, guilty means a person having committed a specified or implied offense. Specified or implied offense. Gynecologist. The next word is gynecologist. Doctor specializing in female physiological functions and diseases. Gynecologist means doctor specializing in female physiological functions and diseases. Reena is the best gynecologist in this region. Reena is the best gynecologist in this region. This is the usage of word gynecologist. Gynecologist means doctor specializing in female physiological functions and diseases. Grandiose. Next word is grandiose, which means imposing. Grandiose means imposing. How is it used in a sentence? The grandiose scheme for a journey across the desert came to nothing. This is usually used in the negative sense, like something big but in a negative sense. So, grandiose means imposing. The grandiose scheme for a journey across the desert came to nothing. The big scheme that was being advertised for the journey across the desert came to nothing. So, grandiose means imposing. Let us move on to the next page. The next word is habile. Habile means competent. Habile means competent. So, how is it used in a sentence? Schneider also was a habile portrait painter. Schneider was also was Schneider also was a habile portrait painter. This means He was a competent portrait painter. Habile means competent. Next word is hegemony. Next word is hegemony. It means dominance of authority. Hegemony means dominance of authority. Example: the president of the company has hegemony over his employees. The president of the company has hegemony over his employees. So, the president has dominant authority over his employees. Therefore, hegemony means dominance of authority. Hearsay. The next word is hearsay, which means deviation from a dominant theory, opinion, or practice. Hearsay means deviation from a dominant theory, opinion, or practice. Example: just because an idea is new does not mean it is hearsay. Just because an idea is new does not mean it is hearsay. Next word is heterosexual. Heterosexual means pertaining to love for opposite sex. Pertaining to love for opposite sex. That is between a man and woman, a male or female. Okay, heterosexual means between different sexes. Example: being heterosexual, the man only found women attractive. Next word is hoax. Hoax means to deceive by way of practical joke. Hoax means deceive by way of practical joke. For example, the hoax about the bomb was enough to get the prankster arrested. The hoax about the bomb was enough to get the prankster arrested. The hoax about the bomb was enough to get the prankster arrested. Hoax means deceive by way of practical joke. Next word is homicide. Homicide means killing of a human being. Killing of a human being means homicide. For example, he was convicted of homicide. He was convicted of homicide. Homicide means killing of a human being. So the person was convicted of killing another human being. Next word is harbinger. Harbinger means forerunner. Harbinger means forerunner. Example: whenever I see clouds, I know they are a harbinger of an approaching storm. That is, they are the forerunners of an approaching storm. Therefore, harbinger means forerunner. The next word is hysteresis. Hysteresis means lagging of an effect behind the cause of the effect. Lagging of an effect behind the cause of the effect. For example, this suggests some form of hysteresis in the DNA structure so that its exact behavior depends on its history. Therefore, hysteresis means lagging of an. Next word is huff. Huff means a state of irritation or annoyance. Huff means a state of irritation or annoyance. Example, she went off in a huff after losing the game. Huff means a state of irritation or annoyance, and its example is she went off in a huff after losing the game. The meaning of these words are hebile means competent, hegemony means dominance of authority, hearsay means deviation from a dominant theory, opinion, or practice, heterosexual means pertaining to love for opposite sex, hoax means deceived by way of practical joke, homicide means killing of a human being, harbinger means forerunner, hysteresis means lagging of an effect behind the cause of the effect, and huff means a state of irritation or annoyance. Next word is Iceni. Iceni is an ancient British tribe. Okay, an ancient British tribe. Example, a section of the Iceni revolted and he had to be a section, a section, a section, a section of the Iceni revolted and had to be suppressed by a cavalry regiment. Iceni was a ancient British tribe. Next word is iconoclast. Iconoclast means one way is violently one who is violently able against established beliefs. One who is violently against established beliefs. He is called iconoclast. For example, anyone who dares to disagree with society's values is viewed as an iconoclast. Anyone who dares to disagree with society's values is viewed as an iconoclast. Next word is idiosyncrasy. Idiosyncrasy, view or feeling peculiar to a person. View or feeling peculiar to a person. Idiosyncrasy, it means view or feeling peculiar to a person. Its usage is your idiosyncrasy of always wearing a red hat makes you look ridiculous. Your idiosyncrasy of always wearing a red hat makes you look ridiculous. So, idiosyncrasy means view or feeling peculiar to a person. Next word is ignominious. Ignominious. Its meaning is disgraceful and humiliating or shameful. Ignominious means disgraceful, humiliating, or shameful. Its usage is when the boxer got knocked out in the first round. When the boxer got knocked out in the first round, everyone knew it was the beginning of an ignominious defeat for him. Ignominious means disgraceful and humiliating and shameful. Next word is imbroglio. Imbroglio means confused or complicated situation. Confused or complicated situation. Example, the hostages found themselves in an imbroglio when the kidnappers began to fight. The hostages found themselves in an imbroglio when the two kidnappers began to fight. situation. Next word is impunity. Impunity means freedom from punishment. Freedom from punishment. Example, in exchange for a testimony, the accomplice received impunity. The accomplice received impunity. So impunity means freedom from punishment. Impunity means freedom from punishment. Next word is inalienable. Inalienable. Inalienable means unable to be taken away. Unable to be taken away. Usages: did not have an slaves did not have inalienable rights because they were viewed as property. Slaves did not have inalienable rights because they were viewed as property. Inalienable means unable to be taken away. So the slaves' rights were not such that they can't be taken away. Slaves did not have inalienable rights because they were viewed as property. Next word is incendiarism. Incendiarism means malicious burning of another's property. Malicious burning of another's property. Usages: the old woman was imprisoned for incendiarism. The old woman was imprisoned for incendiarism. It means for burning another's property. Malicious burning of another's property. This is incendiarism. Next word is incipient. Incipient. Incipient means just beginning to appear or develop. Incipient. Incipient means just beginning to appear or develop. Its usage is: his grandmother is suffering from incipient stage of Alzheimer's. His grandmother is suffering from the incipient stage of Alzheimer's. So incipient means just beginning to appear or develop. Incipient, just beginning to appear or develop. Next word is indefatigable. Indefatigable, a person who has boundless tireless. So a person who doesn't get tired is called indefatigable. Indefatigable. Its usage is: technological progress has given enormous power to humanity, but at the cost of devitalizing the spirit of the individual. Injunction. Injunction means a court order restraining from wrongful act. Injunction means court order restraining from wrongful act. The king issues an injunction that no one should wander the streets after curfew. The king issues an injunction that no one should wander the streets after curfew. Injunction means court order restraining from wrongful act. Court order restraining from wrongful act. Injunction means court order restraining from wrongful act. Next word is innate. Innate means existing from birth. Innate means existing from birth. Example, Mary has an innate ability to charm everyone she meets. Mary has an innate ability to charm everyone she meets. Innate means existing from birth. Next word is insatiable. Insatiable means that cannot be satisfied. She has an insatiable curiosity about life. Insatiable means that cannot be satisfied. She has an insatiable curiosity about life. Insatiable, that is, that cannot be satisfied. Next word is intransigent. Intransigent means refusing to compromise. Refusing to compromise. Usage is Jason has an intransigent nature which makes it very hard for him to make friends. Jason has an intransigent nature which makes it very hard for him to make friends. Intransigent means refusing to compromise. Inveigh. Inveigh means to complain bitterly. To complain bitterly. Inveigh means to complain bitterly. Example, there were politicians who inveighed against immigrants to get votes. There were politicians who inveighed against immigrants to get votes. Inveigh means to complain bitterly. So the politicians were complaining bitterly about the immigrants getting the right to vote. I hope you have understood the meaning of all these words. Incendiarism means malicious burning of another's property. Incipient means just beginning to appear or develop. Indefatigable means a person who has boundless energy or who is tireless. Injunction means court order restraining from wrongful act. Innate means existing from birth. Insatiable means that cannot be satisfied. Intransigent means refusing to compromise. Inveigh means to complain bitterly. Let's move on to the next page. Next word is jettison. Jettison means to throw overboard, discard, or abandon. Jettison means to throw overboard, discard, or abandon. Usage is keep the good memories in your heart and jettison the bad ones. Keep the good memories in your heart and jettison the bad ones. Jettison means to throw overboard, discard, or abandon. Next word is jouer de vivre. Jouer de vivre means joy of living. Joy of living. Example, they seem to be filled with joie de vivre. They seem to be filled with joie de vivre. It means joy of living. Next word is juggernaut. Juggernaut means a inexorable force that seems to crush everything in its inexorable force that seems to crush everything in its way. The fact George is undefeated in political elections makes him an juggernaut. The fact George is undefeated in political elections makes him a juggernaut. Juggernaut means a massive, inexorable force that seems to crush everything in its way. Next word is jurat. Jurat means an official memorandum at the end of an affidavit. Jurat means an official memorandum at the end of affidavit. The prisoner cannot be released without the jurat. Jurat is an official memorandum at the end of affidavit. Next word is juridical. Juridical means pertaining to law. Pertaining to law. Its usage is the central focus of my paper lies in the juridical reforms. Juridical means related to law. The central focus of my paper lies in the juridical reforms. Juridical means pertaining to law. Next word is jurisprudence. Jurisprudence. That means knowledge of law. Knowledge of law. Its usage is to simply ignore a legal precedent is to overlook jurisprudence. To simply ignore a legal precedent is to overlook jurisprudence. Next word is juxtapose. It means to compare side by side. Juxtapose means to compare side by side. The interior designer likes to juxtapose light furniture against dark floors to create a dramatic contrast. It means to compare side by side. The interior designer compares light and dark furniture side by side to create a dramatic contrast. Next word is jovial. Jovial means warm and friendly. Jovial means warm and friendly. The jovial hostess made us feel at home as soon as we walked into the restaurant. The jovial hostess made us feel at home as soon as we walked into the restaurant. Jovial means warm and friendly. Let's move on to the next page. Next word is kleptomania. Next word is kleptomania, which means irresistible urge to steal. Kleptomania is irresistible urge to steal. Its usage is George outright suffers from kleptomania, often stealing things in arm's reach just because he feels the impulse to. often stealing things in arm's reach just because he feels the impulse to. Kleptomania means irresistible urge to steal. Next word is kosher. Kosher means acceptable or appropriate. Kosher means acceptable or appropriate. Example, her attire was kosher, but her date needed a more formal suit. Her attire was kosher, but her date needed a formal suit. Kosher means acceptable or appropriate. Next word is knave. Knave means a dishonest person. A dishonest person. Jason is a knave who will not hesitate to steal money from his family members. Jason is a knave who will not hesitate to steal money from his family members. Knave means a dishonest individual. Next word is laconic. Laconic means brief and using few words, or concise. Laconic means brief and using few words or concise. Its usage is during the laconic during the laconic phone call, the divorcing spouses only said what was absolutely necessary. So during the concise phone call, laconic means concise. So during the laconic phone call, the spouses only said what was absolutely necessary. Next word is libel. Libel means false statement damaging a person's reputation. Libel means false statement damaging a person's reputation. Example, although no one really believes them, the things she wrote about me in her book are pure libel. Although nobody believes them, the things she wrote about me in her book are pure libel. Libel means false statement damaging a person's reputation. Next word is loath. Loath means to dislike strongly. To dislike strongly. Example, Terry, a vegan advocate, would often loathe the thought of eating meat. Terry, a vegan advocate, would often loathe the thought of eating meat. Loath means to dislike strongly. Next word is locus. Locus means a place or locality. Locus means a place or locality. Example, Barcelona is the locus of Spanish industry. Barcelona is locus of Spanish industry. Lax. Lax means lacking in rigor or strictness. Lacking in rigor or strictness. Example, lax security allowed the thieves to enter. Lax security allowed the thieves to enter. Lax means lacking in rigor or strictness. I hope you have understood the meaning of all these words. First is kleptomania, irresistible urge to steal. Then kosher, acceptable, appropriate. Knave means a dishonest individual. Laconic means brief and using few words or concise. Libel means false statement damaging a person's reputation. Loath means to dislike strongly. Locus means a place or locality. Lax means lacking in rigor or strictness. Let's move on to the next page. The first word is macabre. Macabre means gruesome or ghostly. It means gruesome or ghostly. Example, Stephen King is famous for inventing all sorts of macabre storylines and plot twists. Stephen King is famous for inventing all sorts of macabre storylines and plot twists. Next word is macabre means gruesome or ghostly. Next word is magnanimous. Magnanimous is a person who is generous and forgiving. Magnanimous means a person who is generous and forgiving. Usage is the minister is constantly urging us to be magnanimous to each other. The minister is constantly urging us to be magnanimous to each other. Magnanimous means a person who is generous and forgiving. A person who is generous and forgiving. It means magnanimous. Next word is martinet. Martinet means a person who insists on complete and blind obedience. A person who insists on complete and blind obedience. Example, the prison warden is viewed as a martinet because of his strict management. The prison warden is viewed as a martinet because of his strict management. Martinet means a person who insists on complete. Next word is matriarch. Matriarch is a woman who leads a tribe or family. A woman who leads a tribe or family is called matriarch. This is similar to patriarch, in which a person uh, uh, the man who leads the tribe or family is called patriarch, and the woman who leads the tribe or family is called matriarch. Example, my mother is the family matriarch who has the final say in household affairs. My mother is the family matriarch who has the final say in household affairs. Next word is megalomania. Megalomania means morbid delusions of one's importance. Megalomania means morbid delusions of one's importance. Morbid delusions of one's importance. In which a person considers him to be more important than he actually is. Okay. So its usage are Josh Megalomania led him to believe he could rob a bank and not be charged with a crime. Josh's megalomania led him to believe he could rob a bank and not be charged with a crime. Megalomania means morbid delusions of one's importance. Next word is melancholy. Melancholy. It means deep and long lasting sadness. Deep and long lasting sadness. Usages: the melancholy song brought tears to my eyes. The melancholy song brought tears to my eyes. It means deep and long lasting sadness. Deep and long lasting sadness. Next word is misanthrope. Misanthrope means one who hates humanity. Misanthrope means one who hates humanity. Example: Sarah's grandmother is a misanthrope who hates everyone. Sarah's grandmother is a misanthrope. Everyone. Everyone. Misanthrope means one who hates humanity. Let's move on to the next page. First word is nimble. Nimble means moving quickly and lightly. Moving quickly and lightly. For example, she was extremely nimble on her feet. She was extremely nimble on her feet. Nimble means moving quickly and lightly. Next word is nascent. Nascent means coming into being. Nascent means coming into being. Usages: China is a nascent superpower. Nascent superpower means it is just becoming a superpower. So China is a nascent superpower. Nascent means coming into being. Next word is neurosis. Neurosis. Neurosis means an emotional disturbance. An emotional disturbance. Example: she's obsessively clean. It's almost become a neurosis with her. She's obsessively clean. It has almost become a neurosis with her. Neurosis means an emotional disturbance. Next word is nuptial. Nuptial means pertaining to marriage. Nuptial means pertaining to marriage. Two maids were making up their nuptial bed. Anything related to marriage can be called nuptial. So, two maids were making up their nuptial bed. Nuptial means pertaining to marriage. Next word is oaf. Oaf means an idiot. Okay, oaf means an idiot. Its usage is John stood there grinning like an oaf. John stood there grinning like an oaf. Oaf means an idiot. Oaf means an idiot. Next word is obeisance. Obeisance means gesture of respect. Obeisance means gesture of respect. The young girl showed obeisance when she bowed before the queen. The young girl showed obeisance when she bowed before the queen. Obeisance means gesture of respect. Obeisance means gesture of respect. Next word is obfuscate. Obfuscate means confuse. Obfuscate means confuse. Example: the loan contract was filled with legal words meant to obfuscate trusting borrowers. The loan contract was filled with legal words meant to obfuscate trusting borrowers. Obfuscate means confuse. So the loan contract was filled with legal words to confuse trusting borrowers. Obfuscate means confuse. Next word is obliterate. Obliterate means to destroy or erase. To destroy or erase. Its usage is: the dictator's army is going to obliterate the rebels' small village in less than 5 minutes. The dictator's army is going to obliterate the rebels' small village in less than 5 minutes. Obliterate means to destroy or erase. The dictator's army is going to obliterate, that is, destroy the rebels' small village in less than 5 minutes. Next word is outburst. Means anything that breaks out suddenly. Anything that breaks out suddenly. Example: Neha apologized for her outburst afterwards. Neha apologized for her outburst afterwards. Outburst means anything that breaks out suddenly. So the meaning of words on this page are: nimble means moving quickly and lightly, nascent means coming into being, neurosis means an emotional disturbance, nuptial means pertaining to marriage, oaf means an idiot, obeisance means gesture of respect, obfuscate means confuse, obliterate means to destroy or erase, and then outburst means anything that breaks out suddenly. Okay, now let's move on to the next page. Officious. The first word is officious. Officious means asserting authority or interfering in an annoyingly domineering way. Asserting authority or interfering in an annoyingly domineering way. Neetu didn't appreciate policeman's officious attitude when he was questioning her. Neetu didn't appreciate policeman's officious attitude when he was questioning her. Officious means asserting authority or interfering in an annoyingly domineering way. Next word is ombudsman. Ombudsman is The one who looks into complaints against public authorities. Who looks into complaints against public authorities. Example, once the ombudsman ruled against the government official, the citizens were happy and felt as if justice had been served. Once the ombudsman ruled against the government official, the citizens were happy and felt as if justice had been served. Ombudsman means who looks into complaints against public authorities. Next word is omniscient. Omniscient means uh, possessor of knowledge. Omniscient means possessor of infinite knowledge. Example, if world leaders had the capability of to be omniscient, there would probably be an end to all war. If the world leaders had the capability to be omniscient, there would probably be an end to all war. Next word is opulence. Opulence means lavish expenditure of wealth. Lavish expenditure of wealth. He found it difficult to reconcile the opulence he had just witnessed with the poverty of some of the surrounding districts. He found it difficult He found it difficult to reconcile the opulence he had just witnessed with the poverty of some of the surrounding districts. Opulence means lavish expenditure of wealth. Lavish expenditure of wealth. Ossification is the next word. Ossification means biological process to create bones. Ossification means a biological process to create bones. Example, after 3 months, ossification could be determined through the ultrasound because the doctor could see the fetus's bones growing long. After 3 months, ossification could be determined through the ultrasound because the doctor could see the fetus's bones growing long. Ossification means biological process to create bones. Next word is ostracize. Ostracize means exclude from society. Exclude from society. Example, Bill knew his community would ostracize him after his release from prison, so he moved to another town. Bill knew his community would ostracize him after his release from prison, so he moved to another town. Ostracize means exclude from society. Ostracize means exclude from society. Let's move on to next page. Propinquity means proximity. Propinquity means proximity. The neighbors lived in close propinquity to each other. The neighbors lived in close propinquity to each other. Propinquity means proximity. Next word is panacea. Panacea means something that will make everything about a situation better. something that will make everything about a situation better. Usages: unfortunately, there is no panacea that will make cancer instantly vanish. Unfortunately, there is no panacea that will make cancer instantly vanish. Next word is pandemonium. Pandemonium means lot of noise and confusion. Lot of noise and confusion. Many people were badly injured during the pandemonium of the riot. Many people were badly injured during the pandemonium of the riot. Pandemonium means a lot of noise and confusion. Next word is parole. Parole means conditional liberation of a prisoner or conditional release of a prisoner. Parole means conditional release of a prisoner. Example: Vijay was released on parole after serving 2 years. Vijay was released. Vijay was released on parole after serving 2 years. Next word is pathos. Pathos means feeling of sympathy or pity. Feeling of sympathy or pity. Usages: the serial killer was unaffected by pathos. He felt no sorrow for his victims. The serial killer was unaffected by pathos. He felt no sorrow for his victims. Pathos means feeling of sympathy or pity. Next word is pecuniary. Pecuniary is relating to money. Pecuniary means relating to money. So Jason has a poor pecuniary history. He cannot get a bank loan. Jason has such a poor pecuniary history. He cannot get a bank loan. Penury. Penury means living in dire poverty. Penury means living in dire poverty. My, un- uh, my uncle wasted his fortune and died in penury. Penury means living in dire poverty. My uncle wasted his fortune and died in penury. Prevaricate. Prevaricate means to evade. Prevaricate means to evade. British ministers continued to prevaricate the issue of bribery. British ministers continued to prevaricate the issue of bribery. Prevaricate means to evade. Next is next word is pious. Pious means devout. Pious means devout. The pious millionaire planned a spiritual journey to the Holy Land. The pious millionaire planned a spiritual journey to the Holy Land. Pious means devout. Next word is perjury. Perjury means a false statement after an oath to tell the truth. Perjury means a false statement after an oath to tell the truth. Example: John was warned by the judge to tell the truth or else be arrested for perjury. John was warned by the judge to tell the truth or else be arrested for perjury. Perjury means a false statement after an oath to speak truth. Next word is perquisite. Perquisite means privilege, gain, or a special benefit. Perk. Perk. Privilege, gain, or a special benefit or perk. CEO insists that the corporate jet is a perquisite that he truly deserves. CEO insists that the corporate jet is a perquisite that he truly deserves. Perquisite means privilege, gain, or a special benefit. Next word is perspicacious. Perspicacious means having a ready insight into and understanding a thing. Perspicacious means having a ready insight into and understanding a thing. He was perspicacious enough to realize that the things were soon going to change. He was perspicacious enough to realize that things were soon going to change. Perspicacious means having a ready insight into and understanding a thing. Next word is perverse. Perverse means deviating from what is considered normal. Perverse means deviating from what is considered normal. The serial killer found perverse pleasure in every murder he committed. The serial killer found perverse pleasure in every murder he committed. Perverse means deviating from what is considered normal. Predominantly. Predominantly means having more strength than others. Predominantly means having more strength than others. She is predominantly a dancer, but she also sings. She is predominantly a dancer, but she also sings. Predominantly means having more strength than others. Prognosis. Prognosis means knowing beforehand, especially of the likely course of a disease or ailment. Prognosis means knowing beforehand, especially of the likely course of a disease or ailment. The infant was given an excellent prognosis after having heart surgery. The infant was given an excellent prognosis after having heart surgery. Prognosis means knowing beforehand. Next word is proliferate. Proliferate means to increase in number. To increase in number. Example, rabbits proliferate when they have plenty of food. Rabbits proliferate. Rabbits proliferate when they have plenty of food. Proliferate means to increase in number. Next word is promulgate. Next word is promulgate. It means to announce openly. The actor makes use of social media to promulgate the release of his film project. The actor makes use of social media to promulgate the release of his film projects. Next word is propound. Propound means to present for discussion. Propound means to present for discussion. Usages. At the faculty meeting, I will propound several ideas of improvising faculty morale. At the faculty meeting, I will propound several ideas of improving faculty morale. Propound means to present for discussion. Next word is prorate. Prorate means to divide proportionately. Prorate means to divide proportionately. Example, the fee will be prorated for the days you do not attend. The fee will be uh, the fee will be prorated for the days you do not attend. Next word is psychosomatic. Psychosomatic means physical illness springing from the mind. Physical illness springing from the mind. Psychosomatic means physical illness springing from the mind. Its usage is children are just as susceptible to psychosomatic conditions as adults. Children are as susceptible to psychosomatic conditions as adults. Psychosomatic means physical illness springing from the mind. Next word is psychotic. Psychotic means a mentally unbalanced person. Psychotic means a mentally unbalanced person. A religious psychotic in Las Vegas has killed 4 people. A religious psychotic in Las Vegas has killed 4 people. Psychotic means a mentally unbalanced person. Pygmy. Pygmy means a member of short-statured human races. A member of short-statured human races. Usages: environmentalists feel saving the pygmy owl requires re-established flourishing desert riparian areas. Environmentalists feel saving re-establishing flourishing desert riparian areas. Pygmy means a member of short-statured human races. Next word is query. Query means an inquiry. Query means an inquiry. Example, Stella didn't attach any significance to Doug's query. Stella didn't attach any significance to Doug's query. Query means an inquiry. Next word is questionnaire. Questionnaire means first hour of every sitting in 2 houses of parliament. First hour of every sitting in 2 houses of parliament. Example, bills related to farm laws were passed in questionnaire during the winter session of parliament. Bills related to farm laws were passed in question hour during the winter session of parliament. Question hour means first hour of every sitting in 2 houses of parliament. Next word is quid pro quo. Quid pro quo means something for something. Quid pro quo means something for something. Example, continuing quid pro quo, the bread maker always gave the butcher loaves in exchange for beef. Continuing quid pro quo, the bread maker always gave the butcher loaves beef in exchange for beef. Quid pro quo means something for something. Uh, Next word is quixotic, which means unrealistic and impractical. Quixotic means unrealistic and impractical. Although Jack's plan for killing the giant was uh, quixotic, it was the village's only hope. Although the Jack's plan for killing the giant quixotic, it was the village's only hope. Quixotic means unrealistic and impractical. Quixotic means unrealistic and impractical. Next word is quorum. Quorum means whole body of the justice. Quorum means whole body of the justices. We need five people to make a quorum. We need five people to make a quorum. Quorum means whole body of the justices. Next word is racket. Please look at the spelling as well. It is different from that badminton racket. It is RAC. Okay. So racket means an unpleasantly loud and irritating noise. An unpleasantly loud and irritating noise. Upstairs in the playroom, the loud children are making quite a racket. Upstairs in the playroom, the loud children are making quite a racket. Racket means an unpleasantly loud and irritating noise. Next word is ravenous. Ravenous means extremely eager for gratification. Ravenous means extremely eager for gratification. The ravenous lions tore at the carcass. The ravenous lions tore at the carcass. Ravenous means extremely eager for gratification. Let's move on to the next page. Recapitulate. Recapitulate means to repeat the main points. Recapitulate means to repeat the main points. Example, at the start of each class, the professor will recapitulate yesterday's lecture. At the start of each class, the professor will recapitulate yesterday's lecture. Recapitulate means to repeat the main points. To repeat the main points. Refrain. Next word is refrain, which means to stop from doing something. Refrain means to stop from doing something. Usages to avoid a punishment. I am going to refrain from talking back to my mother. To avoid a punishment, I am going to refrain from talking back to my mother. To avoid a punishment, I am going to refrain from talking back to my mother. Refrain means to stop from doing something. Next word is regicide. Regicide means killing of a king. Regicide means killing of a king. The usage is the populist restored to conspiracy, terror, and regicide. The populist resorted to conspiracy, terror, and regicide. Regicide means killing of a king. Next word is retrospective. Retrospective means applying to past. Applying to past. Example, the retrospective automobile exhibit will highlight cars from the 1930s and 1940s. Retrospective, the automobile exhibit will highlight cars from the 1930s and 1940s. Retrospective means applying to past. Next word is sacrament. Sacrament means a solemn oath. Sacrament means a solemn oath. Example, the last sacrament represents the final step in Christ's spiritual journey. The last sacrament represents the final step in Christ's spiritual journey. Sacrament means a solemn oath. Sagacious. Sagacious means acutely insightful and wise. Sagacious means acutely insightful and wise. Example, a sagacious businessman seldom fails in his business. A sagacious business. Sagacious means acutely insightful and wise. Next word is scrupulously. Scrupulously means done very carefully. Scrupulously means done very carefully. Example, he is always scrupulously honest in his business activities. He is always scrupulously honest in his business activities. Scrupulously means done very carefully. Next word is sanguine. Sanguine means confident. Sanguine means confident. The bank manager did not feel sanguine about recovering the loan. The bank manager did not. Next word is swathe. Swathe means an enveloping bandage. An enveloping bandage. The nurse swathed the wounded soldier's leg in bandages. The nurse swathed the wounded soldier's leg in bandages. Swathe means an enveloping bandage. Swathe means an enveloping bandage. Let's move on to the next word. Sedition. Sedition means the act of encouraging opposition to authority. The act of encouraging opposition to authority. It is called sedition. The government censors television networks in order to prevent sedition. The government censors television networks in order to prevent sedition. Opposition to authority. Opposition to authority. Opposition to authority. Opposition to authority. Sophistry. Sophistry means a reason or argument that sounds correct but is actually false. A reason or argument that sounds correct but is actually false. John tried to use sophistry to hide his illegal actions from the tax agency. John tried to use sophistry to hide his illegal actions from the tax agency. Sophistry means a reason or argument that sounds correct but is actually false. Sophistry means a reason or argument that sounds correct but is factually false. John tried to use sophistry to hide his illegal actions from the tax agency. Next word is stigma. Stigma means mark of disgrace. Mark of disgrace. Example, there is a social stigma attached to single parenthood. There is a social stigma attached to single parenthood. Stigma means mark of disgrace. Next word is succinct. Succinct means clearly and briefly stated. Clearly and briefly stated. Example, the reviewer's remarks were succinct to the point. The reviewer's remarks were succinct and to the point. Succinct means clearly and briefly stated, and its usage is the reviewer's remarks were succinct and to the point. Supplicate. Supplicate means to ask humbly. Supplicate means to ask humbly. In his closing argument, the attorney will supplicate for his client's freedom. In his closing argument, the attorney will supplicate for his client's freedom. Supplicate means to ask humbly. In his closing argument, the attorney will supplicate for his client's freedom. To ask humbly for his client's freedom. Next word is sycophant. Sycophant means a servile flatterer. A servile flatterer. Sycophant means a servile flatterer. Example, the rapper's assistant was a sycophant who offered his boss compliments at every turn. The rapper's assistant was a sycophant who offered his boss compliments at every turn. Syllogism. Syllogism means conclusion based on two premises. Syllogism means conclusion based on two premises. Example, in the course of forensic argument, distorted syllogisms will of course be urged upon those who judge. In the course of forensic argument, distorted syllogisms will of course be urged upon those who judge. Syllogism means conclusion based on two premises. Let's move on to the next page. First word is tacit. Tacit means implied without being expressed directly. Implied without being expressed directly means tacit. In my business, all that is needed for a tacit understanding is a handshake between men. Next word is taciturn. Taciturn means disinclined to conversation. Taciturn means disinclined to conversation. Usages: my shy brother is taciturn and rarely speaks in public. My shy brother is taciturn and rarely speaks in public. Taciturn means disinclined to conversation. Taciturn means disinclined to conversation. Next word is theocracy. Theocracy means rule by priest. Theocracy means rule by priests. In a theocracy like ours, the values of one religion are imposed on the entire country. In a theocracy like ours, the values of one religion are imposed on the entire country. Theocracy means rule by priest. Theology. Next word is theology. Theology means study of religion. Theology means study of religion. In order to become a minister, the people must have must in order to become a minister, the man studied theology at the seminary for many years. In order to become a minister, the man studied theology at the seminary for many years. Theology means study of religion. Next word is titular. Titular means relating to title. Titular means relating to title. Example: England has a queen, but today her position is completely titular and she has no authority in the government whatsoever. England has a queen, but today her position is completely titular and she has no authority in the government whatsoever. Titular means relating to title. Next word is travesty. Travesty means ridiculous representation. Travesty means ridiculous representation. The judge described his trial as a travesty of justice. Travesty means ridiculous representation. The judge described his trial as a travesty of justice. The judge described his trial as a travesty of justice. Travesty means ridiculous representation. Next word is tyro. Tyro means a beginner in a field. Tyro means a beginner in the field. Example: Julie is a good violinist. Julie is a good violinist, but at 13 she is a tyro and still has a lot to learn. Julie is a good violinist, but at 13 she is a tyro and still has a lot to learn. Tyro means a beginner in a field. Tedious. Tedious means tiresome. Tedious means tiresome. My professor's tedious history lectures have the entire class yawning. My professor's tedious history lectures have the entire class yawning. Tedious means tiresome. Let's move on to the next page. Ulterior. Ulterior means lying beyond what is seen. Lying beyond what is seen. Example, politicians often use religion as a tool to get people to believe them despite their ulterior motives. Politicians often use religion as a tool to get people to give them despite their ulterior motives. Unanimous. Unanimous means all of one mind or opinion. Unanimous Unanimous means all of one mind or opinion. The unanimous consent of all the shareholders was required to approve the merger. The unanimous consent of all the stakeholders was required to approve the merger. Unanimous means all of one mind or opinion. Next word is unquenchable. Unquenchable means not able to be satisfied. Unquenchable means not able to be satisfied. He has an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. He has an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Unquenchable means not to be satisfied. Not able to be satisfied. Next word is untenable. Untenable means unable to be defended. Untenable means unable to be defended. The usages: the losing debate team had an untenable argument. The losing debate team had an untenable argument. Untenable means unable to be defended. Next word is urbane. Urbane means person who is smooth, polished and cultured. Person who is smooth, polished and cultured. Urbane. Urbane means Henry is an urbane Henry is an urban traveler who has visited over 80 countries. Urban means person who is smooth, polished and cultured. So Henry is an urban traveler who has visited over 80 countries. Urchin. Urchin means mischievous child. Urchin means mischievous child. Example, the orphan had turned into a street urchin and made mischief as a pickpocket downtown. The orphan had turned into a street urchin and made myself uh, and made mischief as a pickpocket downtown. Urchin means mischievous child. Next word is vacillate. Vacillate means wave between different opinions or actions. Wave between different options or opinions. Vacillate means wave between different opinions or actions. Usage: Jack and Jill vacillate between loving and hating each other on daily basis. Jack and Jill vacillate between loving and hating each other on daily basis. Vacillate means wave between different opinions or actions. Next word is vanguard. Vanguard means leading position of a movement. Leading position of a movement. Its usage is The software president worked 80 hours a week to make sure his company remained the vanguard of the industry. The software president worked 80 hours a week to to make sure his company remained the vanguard of the industry. Vanguard means leading position of a movement. Vegetate. Vegetate means to exist in a meaningless, unchallenging and lazy state. To exist in a meaningless, unchallenging and lazy state. People with active minds never vegetate because they are constantly thinking of ways to challenge themselves. People with active minds never vegetate because they are constantly thinking of ways to challenge themselves. Venal. Venal means open to corruption. Venal means open to corruption. The venal policeman accepted the bribe. Venal means open to corruption. Example, the venal policeman accepted the bribe. Next word is venerate. Venerate means to show deep respect. Venerate means to show deep respect. Usage. The Bible says we should venerate our parents and our elders. The Bible says we should venerate our parents and our elders. Veritable. Veritable means not counterfeit or copied. Not counterfeit or copied. The small house was a veritable palace compared to his tent. Next word is veritable. Veritable means not counterfeit or copied. This small house was a veritable palace compared to his tent. Next word is vernacular. Vernacular means native language or of region. Vernacular means native language of region. Galileo wrote in the vernacular style to reach a larger audience. Galileo wrote in the vernacular style to reach a larger audience. Vernacular means native language. Vicarious. Liability without vicarious means he got a vicarious thrill out of which out of watching his son score the winning goal. He got a vicarious thrill out of watching his son scoring the winning goal. Vicarious means liability without direct participation. Next word is vicissitude. Vicissitude changes. Vicissitude means change of circumstances. Change of circumstances. He experienced several great social vicissitudes in his life. He experienced several great social vicissitudes in his life. Vicissitude means change in a change of circumstances. Virago. Virago means a loud-mouthed, quarrelsome woman. A loud-mouthed, quarrelsome woman is called virago. Ria is a virago who is always fighting with the neighbors. Ria is a virago who is always fighting with the neighbors. Virago means a loud-mouthed, quarrelsome woman. Vitiate. Vitiate means to spoil, uh, make faulty. Vitiate means to spoil, make faulty. You made a good decision, so don't vitiate it by boasting about your success. You made a good decision, so don't vitiate it by boasting about your success. Vitiate means to spoil or make faulty. Vivacious. Vivacious means full of life. Vivacious means full of life. She was charming, intelligent, and vivacious. Vivacious means full of life. She was charming, intelligent, and vivacious. Next word is vocation. Vocation means an occupation or profession demanding dedication. An occupation or profession demanding dedication. Because I love sharing knowledge, I choose teaching as my life's vocation. Because I love sharing knowledge, I chose teaching as my life's vocation. Vocation means an occupation or profession demanding dedication. Next word is vandalism. Vandalism means deliberate destruction of private property. Deliberate destruction of private property. Protesters were jailed for vandalism. Protesters were jailed for vandalism. Vandalism means deliberate destruction of private property. Next word is vary. Vary means notice of impending danger. Notice of impending danger. I am a bit wary of driving in this fog. Wary means notice of impending danger. I am a bit wary of driving in this fog. Woe means misery. Woe means misery. Sana experienced a lot of woe when her boyfriend dumped her. Sana experienced a lot of woe when her boyfriend dumped her. Woe means misery. Misery. Next word is xenophobia. Xenophobia means morbid dislike of foreigners. Morbid dislike of foreigners. Shane's xenophobia prevents him from going to social events where there are people he does not know. Prevents him from going to social events where there are people he does not know. Xenophobia means morbid dislike of foreigners. Next word is yammer. Yammer means loud noise, excessively complaining. loud noise or excessively complain, yammer. Milena listened to her friends yammer for at least 30 minutes about how much homework they had. Milena listened to her friends yammer for at least 30 minutes about how much homework they had. Yammer means loud noise, excessively complain. Next word is zap. Zap means to strike. Using the electric bug killer, the homeowner was able to zap many of the pesky bugs in the backyard. Using the electric bug killer, the homeowner was able to zap many of the pesky bugs in the backyard. Zenith means highest point. Zenith means highest point. The singer reached her zenith when she sold over 12 million records in 2013. The singer reached her zenith when she sold over 12 million records in 2013. Zenith means highest point. Next word is zillion. Zillion means a very large indefinite number. Zillion means a very large indefinite number. Its usage is this movie is a zillion times better than her last one. This movie is a zillion times better than her last one. Zillion means a very large indefinite number. So these are some important words, their meanings and use in sentences. Okay. Now let's move on to the practice questions. These are the type of questions you might get in your examination. Okay. Now let us start solving these questions. Try to solve these questions on your own without taking help from the dictionary or Google. Choose the word analogous or nearest in meaning to dialectic. Choose the word analogous or nearest in meaning to dialectic. Options are constructive, option B instructive, option C argumentative, and option D destructive. A constructive, B instructive, C argumentative, D destructive. Choose the word analogous or nearest in meaning to dialectic. Do you know the meaning of dialectic? If you know the meaning of dialectic, you might be able to do this question in just 5 to 6 seconds. You might not even require 10 seconds for solving this question. If you know the meaning of dialectic, then choose the correct option. I am giving you 10 seconds. Choose the word analogous or nearest to in meaning to dialectic. Option A is constructive, option B is instructive, option C is argumentative, and option D is destructive. Let us move on. Look what is the answer. The answer is argumentative, option C. Why? Because dialectic means the art of investigating or discussing the truth of opinions. Okay. So, discussing the truth of opinions is nearest to argumentative. It does not match with constructive or instructive or even destructive. Therefore, option C is the only option which is uh, nearest in meaning to dialectic, that is argumentative. Therefore, option C, argumentative, is the correct answer. I hope you understood this question. Now, let us solve some similar questions. Let us move on to question number 2. Choose the word analogous or nearest in meaning to plurality. Plurality. Options are A. Insincerity, B. Childishness, C. Falsehood, D. Inaccuracy. A. Insincerity, B. Childishness, C. Falsehood, and D. Inaccuracy. Choose the word nearest in meaning to puerility. This is the word puerility. Choose the word nearest in meaning to puerility. Please select one of the options which is nearest in meaning to puerility. I hope you know the meaning of puerility. So the correct option to this answer is option B, childishness. Why option B is correct? Because puerility means immature, especially in being silly or trivial or childish as well. Puerility means immature, especially in being silly or trivial or childish. And we have only one option which is related to child, that is B, childishness. So correct option is option B, childishness. It is nearest in meaning to puerility. Let's move on to question number 3. Choose the word analogous or nearest in meaning to obsequious. Obsequious. Option A, servile. Option B, poor. Option C, cheerful. Option D, sullen. Choose the word nearest in meaning to obsequious. Do you know the meaning of obsequious? If you might know the meaning of obsequious, you will be able to solve this question very quickly. Therefore, practicing vocabulary is very important for Clat, CA, and even other verbal examinations. I will wait 5 more seconds. The correct answer is option A, servile. Why? Because obsequious means making a great effort to please or agree with somebody. Obsequious means making an effort. Obsequious means making a great effort to please or agree with somebody, especially somebody who is important and powerful. Therefore, servile is the correct option. Let's move on to question number 4. Choose the word nearest in meaning to diffidence. Choose the word nearest in meaning to diffidence. Diffidence. Choose the word nearest in meaning to diffidence. Option A discourage, option B humility, option C harmful, or option D defection. The correct option. Do you know the correct option to this question? The correct answer is option B humility. Diffidence means the quality of being shy or not confident of your abilities. Of being shy and not confident of your abilities. So we found option B correct. Therefore, option B is the correct option. Question 4. Option B is the correct answer. Humility. Let's move on to question number 5. Choose the word analogous and or nearest in meaning to riparian. I hope you know the meaning of riparian. Option A horses, option B riverbanks, option C religious beliefs, and option D hunting. Option A horses, option B riverbanks, option C religious belief, and option D hunting. Please choose the correct answer. Giving 5 seconds more to mark your answers. So I hope all of you have marked your answers. The correct answer is option B, riverbanks, because riparian means relating to or situated on the banks of a river. So riverbank is all riverbank is or nearest in meaning to riparian. Okay, therefore option B, riverbanks, is correct. Let's move on to question number 6. Now these are the somewhat different kind of questions in which choose the word which best expresses the meaning of the highlighted word in the sentence. Choose the word which best expresses the meaning of the highlighted word in the sentence. Question number 6. He spent his whole life caught up in mundane matters. He spent his whole life caught up in mundane matters. Option A worldly, option B foolish, option C inconsequential, or option D criminal. He spent his whole life caught up in mundane matters. we have to choose the word from the options which best expresses the meaning of the highlighted word. Which of these options expresses the meaning of mundane? I am giving you 10 seconds. Please mark your answers. I hope all of you have marked your answers. The correct answer to this question is option A, worldly. Why? Because mundane means ordinary or not interesting or exciting. Foolish means an idiot. Therefore, foolish and mundane are very different. Mundane just means ordinary. Okay. Then option C is inconsequential. Inconsequential means of little value, not important or worth considering. Inconsequential means of little value, not important or worth considering. While worldly means connected with ordinary life. Therefore, worldly is nearest in meaning to mundane, and option A is the correct answer for question number 6. Let's move on to question number 7. This is also a similar question in which you have to find the option which best expresses the meaning of the highlighted word. Question number 7 is, the habit of squandering money should not be encouraged. The habit of squandering money should not be encouraged. Option A, wasting. B, hoarding. C, donating. D, stealing. Wasting, hoarding, donating, or stealing. Which is the correct option? Which of these words is similar to squandering? I am giving you 10 seconds. Please mark your answers. I hope all of you know the meaning of squandering. The habit of squandering money should not be encouraged. The correct answer is option A, wasting. Squandering means to waste time or money. Okay? Therefore, wasting is the nearest word which expresses similar meaning. Option A, wasting is the correct answer for question number 7. Let's move on to the next slide. Question number 8. For each of the following words below, a context is provided. From the alternatives given, pick the word or phrase that is closest in meaning in the given context. From the alternatives given, pick the word or phrase that is closest in meaning in the given context. Oligarchy. Olig Oligarchy. Mrigank argued that all the political parties, including those which profess democratic values, become the instruments of their leaders who eventually become a self-interested and self-sustained oligarch. Merigank argued that all political parties, including those which profess democratic values, become the instruments of their leaders who eventually become a self-interested and self-sustained oligarchy. Which option suits the word oligarchy best? Option A, rule of a mob or crowd, small group of people having control of state, an iron rule of democrats, socialist rule of activities. So we have to find a word which is similar in meaning to oligarchy and also does not change the language or sense of the sentence. Okay, so please mark your answers. I am giving you 10 seconds. Mrigank argued that all political parties, include those which profess democratic values, become the mainstream become the mainstream of their leaders who eventually. So the correct answer is option B, a small group of people having control of state. Oligarchy means this only, a small group of people having control of state. Therefore, option B is the correct answer for question number 8. Question number 9. Perestroika. Perestroika means, do you know the meaning of perestroika? In the 1980s, the state socialist tradition became totally discredited as Gorbachev's program of perestroika revealed the fundamental failures of the planned economics of communist bloc. In the 1980s, the state socialist tradition became totally deserted as Gorbachev's program of perestroika revealed the fundamental failures of the planned economies of communist bloc. So, which of the options is correct? A. Closing of all entries. B. Manifesto of failure. C. Opening up. Or D. Nagging policies. So the correct answer is option C. Opening up. Why? Because perestroika, the literal meaning of perestroika is restructuring, referring to the people, referring to the people up in the Soviet political and economic system. The literal meaning of perestroika is restructuring, referring to the opening up of the Soviet political and economic systems. So option C, opening up, is closest to perestroika. Let's move to question number 10. Bequeath. Bequeath. In consequences, they bequeathed to their follower no clear vision of the economics of socialism, that is, state ownership and planning the means of production, distribution and exchange, and others had to advocate market socialism, the state regulation of capital rather than state ownership of capital. Options are option A, hand down or pass on, option B, a powerful will get uh, Option B is a powerful will of the people. Option C, a method of governing. Option D, to give in promise. Which option is similar to bequeathed? Hand down or pass on, a powerful will of the people, a method of governing, or to give in promise. If you know the answer, please mark it. 5 seconds more. Please select an option which is closest in meaning to bequeathed. I hope you have marked the answers. The correct answer is option A, hand down or pass on. Bequeath means to give money or property to others after your death. Okay, so hand down or pass on are also similar. So the option A, hand down or pass on, is the correct option and is closest in meaning to bequeath. Let's move to question number 11. In the following questions, choose the word which is odd one out. These are the four options, and you have to choose the option which is uh, different from the other three. In the following questions, choose the word which is odd one out. A. Bedlam, B. Anarchy, C. Anatomize, and D. Insurrection. I hope you know the meaning of all the four words. I am giving you 10 seconds. Please mark the one which is not the part of which is different from the other three. Choose the odd one out. Option A, Bedlam. Option B, Anarchy. Option C, Anatomize. And option D, Insurrection. Which is the correct question? The answer to this question is option C, Anatomize. The meaning of Bedlam is a place, scene, or state of uproar and confusion. Anarchy means a state of lawlessness or political leader due to the absence of governmental authority. Insurrection means an act of instance of revolting against civil authority. Insurrection means an act or instance of revolting against civil authority or an established government. Anatomize means to examine and health in details. Therefore, anatomize is closest in meaning to uh, anatomize is the odd one out of all these, because bedlam means uproar and confusion and all, anarchy means uh, state of lawlessness, and insurrection means instance of revolting against civil authority. So anatomize is the odd one out, and option C, anatomize, is correct answer to question number 11. Question number 12. In the following questions, choose the word which is odd one out. In the following questions, choose the word which is odd one out. A. Miscreant. B. Defendant. C. Accused. D. Plaintiff. Miscreant, defendant, accused, plaintiff. Which one is the odd one out? I am giving you 10 seconds. Miscreant, defendant, accused, plaintiff. Which one is the odd one out? Which one is different from the meaning of other three? Miscreant, defendant, accused, or plaintiff. I hope all of you have marked the answers. The answer to this question is question D, plaintiff. Why? Because the meaning of miscreant is one who behaves criminally or viciously. Defendant is someone who is being sued or accused of committing a crime. And accused means when charged with an offense. And plaintiff means a person who starts a legal action against somebody in a court of law. Plaintiff means a person who starts a legal action against somebody in a court of law. It's uh, just that the option A, B, C all are causing a trouble, while option D, plaintiff, is just following the legal procedure. Therefore, option A, C, D, and plaintiff, option D is correct. That is, option D is odd one out. Question number 13. Choose the most appropriate option to replace the expression in the brackets. Choose the most appropriate option to replace the expressions in the brackets. Ramesh was noble man who always feared law. He was arrested on false and exaggerated charges. So you have to remove this. You have to choose an option which can replace the text in this paragraph, that is false and exaggerated. He was arrested on false and exaggerated charges. So, which of these words is similar in meaning to false and exaggerated? Law abiding. Law abiding would come in this. Then trumped up, mistaken, free and clear. Trumped up, mistaken, free and clear. He was arrested on dash charges. He was arrested on dash charges. I hope all of you have marked your answers. Now let us see what is the answer. The answer is option B, trumped up. He was arrested on trumped up charges. Okay, it is used as a phrase as well. He was arrested on trumped up charges. Question number 14. Risham never bothered about right and wrong in his life. He often teamed with others to do petty crimes. He was charged with disobeying the orders of the judge when he was late for court. So instead of disobeying the orders of the judge, you have to put in someone from the options. He was charged with dash disobeying the orders of the judge Option A is disturbing the place. Disturbing the peace. Disturbing the peace, contempt of court, complete. So the correct option is, I hope all of you have also marked the correct answer. The correct option is option B, contempt of court. He was charged he was charged with contempt of court when he was late for court. Okay? Contempt of court is the correct answer. Option B. With this question, we come to the end of today's session about vocabulary. I hope this will help you a lot and allow you to grow your vocabulary even more. Thank you. We will meet in next session to discuss a new topic related to which might come in Clat examinations. Okay then. Thank you, students.